Today is February 1st, 2014, and the entire country is facing one of the most severe winter storms in history. Everyone is freezing to death except here in the southwest, a perfect time to drive a nice convertible, with the temperatures a nice 71 degrees outside. We'll also be taking a look at the Infiniti Q60S convertible, which also has a hardtop. In this case, we're looking at the Volkswagen 2014 Eos hardtop convertible. Now to convert this hardtop into a convertible, all you do is press the secret button, and this turns into this in a whopping 25 seconds. With the top stowed in the trunk, the cubic foot storage goes from 10 feet to 6 feet, with lots of luck finding it. The one complaint I had with this car is the main complaint I have with convertibles in general, and that is, why would anyone want to buy a convertible with a black interior, the worst color you could possibly buy? When these vehicles sit out in the sun, it's like sitting your butt on a hot frying pan. Very uncomfortable. Why not get a tan or white or red, anything but black? But that's what they make, and that's what people buy. I guess they have to learn the hard way. Aside from the color, there's very little to complain about here. The quality of materials, the workmanship is very good. The rear seats are okay for small kids with short legs, but not full-size adults. Not on long trips anyway. Glovebox size is adequate for a small car. The climate control and navigation systems are easy to use, unusual for a German car. The gauge cluster is very easy to read, lots of useful information here. And the paddle shifters are on the steering wheel where they belong, not the steering column. Far easier to use when taking tight corners if you like shifting for yourself. The only engine offered is the proven 2.0 liter turbo, putting out 200 horsepower and hooked to a 6-speed automatic with manual shift override, rated at 22 to 30 miles per gallon, which is what I've been getting. A very nice potent engine with good fuel economy, good choice. The Eos is not a high-strung sports car, but the steering, handling, and braking performance are very sporty nevertheless. Very good for brisk driving. This little engine has plenty of power. And this automatic transmission shifts just perfect, especially in the sport mode. Did I mention the nice brakes again? The ride quality is pretty comfortable on most surfaces, but if you get a rough pavement, you get a lot of rumbling from the tires. If you get a lot of potholes, there's a lot of clanking and thumping from the front end. It's not a good car for driving on bad roads. The base price of $37,495 might shock some, but keep in mind there are no options here. Everything comes standard. Everything except shipping, which brought the price up to $38,360,000. I'm told there are some upgraded models that hit $43,000, but I haven't been able to find those on the web pages of Volkswagen yet. Bottom line, this is a pretty expensive ride. Now, a lot of car testers have stated that the Eos is a very nice German car, but they're not telling you the whole truth here. Actually, only 36% of the parts are German. The rest come from places like Hungary and Portugal. So I guess we'll just call this a very nice European car. Now take a drive in the Infiniti Q60S hardtop convertible. Like other vehicles of this design, you press a button and the hardtop disappears into the trunk. Here it is at the halfway point. And here's what it looks like with the top totally down. Now, driving with the top down is fun, but don't plan on taking any luggage. There's nothing going to fit in this trunk. Now, normally I don't do reviews on other publications that test cars, but I have some comments to make because Motor Trend magazine tested this vehicle about 4 months ago and totally trashed it, complaining about some of the silliest stuff I've ever read. The first complaint was you have to stop the car in order to put the top down instead of doing it while you're driving in motion. I don't really see the problem with this. If you're driving a car, you should be concentrating on driving, not messing with the top. As far as I'm concerned, you should pull over to put the top up and down. So I don't think it's a legitimate complaint. Number two, they were complaining because it takes 30 seconds for the top to go down compared to other vehicles which run around 20 to 25 seconds. Like, boo-hoo. So what? Are we in that big of a hurry? Then they bitched about the antenna being located on the trunk, claiming it blocks your rear view. You must be joking. This little thing, and where else are you going to put the antenna anyway? And they didn't like the fact that the trunk made a big thumping noise when it was closing electronically. Boo-hoo again. Now this vehicle is a bit heavier than the older G37 model, so the 0 to 60 time goes from 5.4 seconds to 5.7 seconds, and Motor Trend was bitching about that too. Believe me, this car is not slow, not considering the 4,300 pound weight, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Now why Motor Trend was trashing this car so bad I don't know, but I suspect if Infiniti had purchased a big advertising contract, things might have been a little bit different. You think? Okay, enough complaining about Motor Trend magazine. Now let's start with my review, which I think you'll find a little bit better than theirs. For starters, I think this is an excellent looking car. Very gorgeous. And this bright white paint makes it look even better. Another side view. And a peek from the rear. Under the hood, the same basic V6 that Nissan and Infiniti have been using since the beginning of time. A very strong, reliable engine. This one's putting out 325 horsepower. Gas mileage is rated at 16 to 24 miles per gallon. This vehicle comes standard with a 6-speed manual transmission. If you like shifting for yourself, it's a very nice gearbox. Very smooth, very precise, with a nice clutch. Be advised, however, this also comes with a 7-speed automatic transmission with paddle shifters. And this motor pulls quite well at low RPM, so you might get more performance out of the automatic. If you're looking for a weekend warrior car, the 6-speed's fine, but if you're driving a car every day, I'd go with the 7-speed automatic myself, but of course the choice is yours. There's nothing worse than getting a convertible with a black interior. It heats up like an oven. Fortunately, we got a white interior here, which looks very nice and was a lot cooler to drive in the heat. The controls in the cabin are very simple, easy to use. Here's the climate control, 2 simple knobs, a few buttons, the way it should be. Same with the stereo system. Here's the navigation, phone, and information system up here. Very easy to use. I haven't had to read the owner's manual, not yet anyway. Not too much I can say about the glove box, except it's ridiculously small and pretty much worthless if you have the owner's manual inside. Take it out, you might have some room. Not a good design. Like most cars in this class, the rear seats are for kids only, hopefully with short legs. Inside the key fob is a manual key. Unfortunately, this has a habit of falling off. Very easy to get lost. One feature I don't care for. Funny Motor Trend didn't spot that. As I stated earlier, the gas mileage rating is 16 in the city and 24 on the highway. I've been getting 18 in mixed city highway driving, and 23.7 cruising at 70 miles per hour was my best. This isn't very good. Most V8s on the market will do better than this, but that's just the way it is. I'm told that a lot of the parts on the Infiniti Q60 are borrowed from the Nissan 370Z sports car. If so, this would explain the excellent driving performance. The steering is very responsive, the brakes have a nice firm feel, and the cornering ability is excellent. The ride is reasonably comfortable, but on rough roads like this, there's a lot of pounding from these wheels and tires. It gets very annoying after a while. I'm doing some freeway cruising with the top down. The wind noise is relatively low, and even though it's 40 degrees outside, the climate system's keeping me reasonably warm. So I think I'll just keep driving like this. The base price of the Q60 is $52,750. In all fairness, everything is standard from navigation to leather. There are no options. So the ending price is also $52,750. It's not cheap, but certainly less money than the German competition. So this is the type of car you're looking for. It's worth a look. This is what happens when you're driving 75 in a 35 zone and had a few beers to boot.
to her.